Welcome to another episode of Marketing That Actually Works, a podcast presented by the Growth Marketing Institute.
Smart marketers incorporate one or more psychological principles into marketing and advertising. Marketing psychology, sometimes called neuromarketing, applies neuropsychology as a way to get noticed, keep consumers' attention, influence purchasing decisions, and maximize customer loyalty and advocacy. For many decades, researchers have studied how people cognitively respond to marketing. In fact, it is well established today that people have sensor and motor, both sensory and motor functions, cognitive and affective responses to marketing. Put differently, if you know why and how consumers think and act the way they do, you can enhance your marketing and advertising and the imperative results that they drive. Marketers and business operators often assume that most people make decisions by conducting research and then weighing the options. As a result, many marketing and advertising campaigns are structured around this calculus, but this is not how most consumers make decisions. People frequently act illogically, making their behavior difficult to predict, and they rarely take the time to learn the full set of facts before taking action, as often evident on social media. To help you attract, convince, and convert more people with your marketing and advertising, let's go through a few consumer psychology principles, starting with the action paralysis principle, which states that people commonly second-guess their own behavior, especially if they are not sure how their decision will impact them or people close to them. If you are trying to trigger someone into action, clearly emphasize that their action will make a difference. For example, instead of just saying, "buy now," you can say, "buy now," and improve your health today. The lesson here is that whenever your prospective and current customers have reason to question their decisions, provide a good reason for them to convert or make a purchase. There is also the anchoring effect, whereby people tend to subconsciously latch onto the first fact they see or hear, the reference point, or anchor, and then base their decision-making on this fact, whether or not it is accurate or true. Both numeric and non-numeric anchoring have been reported in research. In numeric anchoring, once the value of the anchor is set, subsequent arguments, estimates, etc., made by an individual may change from what they would have otherwise been without the anchor. For example, an individual may be more likely to purchase a car if it is placed alongside a more expensive model, the anchor. Prices discussed in negotiations that are lower than the anchor may seem reasonable, perhaps even cheap to the buyer, even if said prices are still relatively higher than the actual market value of the car. Some businesses, such as restaurants, sort the prices of products from high to low. The high prices at the top of a food menu act as anchor values, and consumers, then, have an expectation that the items are all expensive when knowing the relatively high prices of products on the top of the list. As a result, they will be pleased to see the cheaper products at the middle and bottom of the list and regard these prices as acceptable or cheaper than expected. Therefore, they are more likely to buy these products. There is also the decoy effect, defined as a situation where people tend to have a change in preference between two options when they are shown a third option. The third choice is called a decoy, which is usually considered as inferior and designed to induce consumers to change their preferences. For example, it might be more expensive than option A while having lower quality than option B. In this case, the anchor is the decoy. Finally, there is incidental price, or the prices offered by a business for a product or service which the consumers are not interested in. According to this theory, the incidental price serves as an anchor which increases consumers' willingness to pay. This effect has been widely used in areas such as auctions, online vendors, and retailers. Another psychological principle in marketing and advertising is commitment and consistency, which refers to the choices people make to believe more strongly in the decisions they have already made in order to avoid cognitive dissonance, two or more conflicting beliefs or behaviors. This effect is common in free trials because once customers start using a product or service and invest their time, they often tend to believe that the product is valuable or beneficial to them. There is also framing, or the act of leveraging presentation and context to make consumers more receptive to your product or service. Whether through language, context, or imagery, framing impacts how consumers perceive options and ultimately guides their choices. Positive framing is used to emphasize the benefits and gains of a product or service. For instance, highlighting that a product is 90% fat-free rather than saying it contains 10% fat, whereas negative framing underscores the potential losses or risks associated with not opting for a particular product or service. For example, don't miss out on this exclusive offer. Another psychological principle is the information gap theory, which posits that when someone has a gap in their knowledge on a topic they care about, they will take action to find out what they want to know. Marketers use the information gap theory in content and social media marketing. For example, headlines such as "How to do ... the secret to XYZ," or "What you must know about ... are all used to excite consumers' curiosity and make them want to learn more about the topic at hand. Next is the law of least effort, which, as you can probably tell by its name, suggests that most people are inherently lazy, or at least want to do things efficiently and take the path of least resistance. For example, people who want to order takeout or delivery from a restaurant will look for a phone number, but will give up if they cannot quickly find it on Google or the restaurant's website. This principle is also why many software companies offer a free trial. It is much easier to make decisions when you do not need to pay anything to try a product or service, and some of these companies have even gone the extra mile by not requiring new customers to insert payment information in order to activate their free trial. There is also the liking principle, which postulates that people like others who are similar to them, pay them compliments, and cooperate with them towards mutual aims or goals. Consider Apple's physical stores, for example. It is no coincidence that this high-end, high-tech store is staffed with reps in jeans and a t-shirt instead of traditional suits and ties. Apple uses the liking principle to its advantage. Their strategy says, "We are human beings just like you, the consumer. We are casual and approachable. Our products are for you." Additionally, research shows that successful Apple sales representatives are 10 times more likely to use collaborative words like us, we, and our, because consumers are drawn to a sense of belonging. They crave social proof. Prove to your prospective and current customers that you are one of them too, and you will gain their trust and their business. Another psychological principle is loss aversion, or the consumer tendency to strongly prefer avoiding losses over acquiring gains. Studies show that loss aversion is twice as powerful psychologically as the acquisition of something. Sometimes even the idea of a loss is enough to create a strong reaction. Next is priming the process of presenting someone with a word, image, or sound that prepares them to be more receptive to a particular point of view. It can influence action as well as thought. Priming someone to say yes is known as the foot in the door method, whereby you prepare consumers with small asks, such as signing up for a free email newsletter, to condition them to be more receptive to larger asks, like buying a subscription to a paid product. There is also the principle of reciprocity, in which people feel an obligation to do something for you when you have done something for them. This is why smart marketers avoid the urge to push for a quick sale and use marketing and advertising to nurture relationships instead. Investing in pre-conversion customer experience tends to yield better results, and the probability of customers recommending your business, art organization, and its product or service to others. The last principle is not a scientifically official one, but we can call it the principle of contagions, based on Jonah Berger's best-selling book, Contagious: Why Things Catch On People. The crux is that people share things that make them look good to others. When we care, we share. If something is built to show, it is built to grow. Information travels under the guise of idle chatter, and people like to pass along practical, useful information. That is, news you can use. Thus, the most effective marketing and advertising employs these knowns to drive more word of mouth by hyper-focusing on producing and publishing shareable content via your marketing and advertising.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Marketing That Actually Works, a podcast presented by the Growth Marketing Institute. To learn more about how we work with businesses and organizations of all kinds and sizes to help them perform better, grow faster, and take advantage of other impressive results, please visit our website at www.thegrowthmarketing.institute.